The Dale Show. I think I'm going to start with some booch.
Some booch?
Gonna apologize in advance. This usually makes me burpy, and I kind of made a thing that I wasn't gonna drink booch on the podcast anymore, but you know how that goes.
Because of the burps?
Yeah, it's too delicious though. It makes me burp so much. But this blue one,
yep,
it's like ginger, kiwi, and coconut. It's so good. And vanilla.
Nice. I just can't get into the booch. I've tried it. I just can't. It's not my jam.
Maybe if you listen to more Joe Rogan, Jeff.
What was he going to tell me? Is it going to make is it going to increase my tea?
Yeah, it's going to give you more probiotics.
Oh yeah. Good gut biomes and healthy rectums.
Your gut biomes.
It's awesome. It's yeah. I have in my official Dale Show mug.
Oh, nice. I got mine.
Dale Show mug.
Clink, clink.
Clink. In my Dale Show mug today, I have the last vestiges of holiday spirit. It is the cranberry ginger ale today.
Ooh.
Cranberry ginger ale. Yep.
Welcome to the show. You can already tell it's me and Jeff. Remember how proud I was of my title 2022 Boo-hoo?
Yes.
It's even better now because now it's 2022 Boo-hoo Part 2.
The Electric Boogaloo?
Yeah. So we're gonna go through. We ended off at March.
Yep.
I do want to touch back on one thing because in February, when Russia invaded Ukraine, I had it on there because I wanted to mention. Did I mention how it's basically Ukraine is like on American welfare, where like the conspiracy tinge of it is instead of America at first, they are sending more aid and like specific money and stuff. Before they were sending like aid packages and supplies, they were sending all weapons, which the like weird conspiracy thing. It's not a conspiracy, but it's like something conspiracy people find interesting is the American government is taking taxpayer money, buying guns and like weapons from suppliers in America and then sending them overseas. So basically what they're doing is they're giving all their friends money while they look like they're helping out at the same time.
So I'm laughing just because like you brought that up as American welfare. Here, we bought you some guns. That's like, I can't think of like, oh, you can't eat? Here's some guns, provide for your family. Oh, what's the matter? You don't have healthcare? Here's some guns, sort your shit out.
Yeah.
Right.
Or it's like
yeah, the pokey is not like you go down, you pick up your check from the government and you go to the liquor store. It is, here's a gun, do some damage.
Yeah. Shoot the guys that are wrong. Oh, my hair.
Yeah. What's wrong with your hair? You got
I don't know. It's just like
you got a thing going on up there.
I'm just full of like things that are bugging me today. It's like I have the camera up high so you can't see my double chin, but then you can see my 5 head. So it's like, what's worse? 5
Dude,
head
I have a 6 head. It goes all the way to the back.
Yeah, but you don't have hair, so you can't tell where your forehead starts and your scalp ends.
You can't. There's no way of knowing.
Or your forehead ends and your scalp begins. Is that the proper way to say it?
I can actually tell you where that is, where my back hair starts. That's where the end of my forehead is. Right at the top of the shoulders there.
Of all cul-de-sacs.
Yeah, totally.
Nice. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that at all. I had no idea. I mean,
well, they're not like telling people. I'm not saying that's obviously what's happening. It's just like, well, they're giving them money.
Theory.
Or they're giving them weapons.
Guns.
It's like, where are those weapons coming from? And it's like, and the funny thing is, that's not really funny, but it's like an odd thing is like, you keep having countries saying that other countries can't send tanks and stuff to Ukraine.
Right.
Like this just happened where Switzerland, I think, wasn't going to allow Spain to send weapons, but it was because Switzerland or something gave Spain those weapons in the first place.
So it'd be like no backsies for my weapons.
Yeah, you're not allowed to re-gift the weapons we just gave you.
Oh, this is nice AK-47. I believe I've seen this before somewhere. Oh yeah, last Christmas.
And it's funny because the America's doing this with like 5 $10-15 billion already. And then Canada's version is they're sending like 60 APCs from Mississauga, Ontario for 150 million. So they're like, we're doing it too.
Yeah. Look at us pitching in. Here's some troop carriers.
So there's some troop carrier production company in Mississauga, Ontario.
Yeah, it's Polaris, probably. Yeah. I would imagine it's Polaris.
Hokey geez, thanks for the money.
Yeah.
Justin.
It's just a guess here, but I'm thinking Polaris probably makes our equipment.
I'm not sure. I could look it up, but I didn't look it up because I wasn't going to talk about it. So
yeah. So Polaris awarded 7-year contract to build U.S. special operations newest vehicles.
Ooh, wait, they got awarded from the U.S. building them?
Oh, that was 2020. Yeah, they got awarded to build them on behalf of the U.S.
Oh, that's nice. That's a good contract.
It's a great contract. Good job,
States
Canada.
Uses so much. And then when the states are like, they don't even get blown up in the states. They're like, we're bored of these. Let's just give them to the local sheriff's department and let them fuck around just so we can have new shit. It's like when you have like that rich cousin whose parents buy him anything he wants, and he like gives you his stuff that's still perfectly good, but he's just sick of having it and wants new stuff. And you're like, sweet.
That must
I get all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's like what the sheriff's departments in the States are.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Here's my leftover, my leftover tanks that ram down the front door of a house.
Yeah. Hand me down anti-aircraft.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Is that a 4-barreled anti-aircraft gun? I'll put that in my backyard. Yeah. It was funny. We went down to the US actually 2 days ago on Friday. And it's just like, this is a stupid story, but like literally the second you cross the border, it feels different. Like literally it's a land border, but it feels like, I don't know it feels different. Like the infrastructure literally changes at the border.
Does it feel freer, Jeff?
No, I was gonna say something, but it feels kind of less free. It's like, I don't know.
It doesn't feel like you have the right to say whatever you want.
Yeah, it feels like they put a lot of money into the military and not a lot of money into the roads. Like the taxes they collect don't go to like, hey, let's clean the garbage off the side of the road. The taxes go to, hey, let's buy weapons for Ukraine, right?
Like, I noticed there's a lot of litter down there.
So much.
But I haven't been down there in like 4 years. Yeah. Like I haven't gone since well before COVID.
Yeah.
And I back then I thought the roads in like Washington were nice.
Well, but they're pretty. Like the roads are like but the roads are like wrecked, like they're potholy and they're knobbly and there's shit everywhere.
That must have happened in the last couple of years.
Yeah. I haven't been down that direction. Like I haven't been down the I-5 in a really long time. I go to Canadian America, which is Point Roberts. So it's like Point Roberts is basically Canada light. It's just like this accidental little protuberance of land that somebody fucked up when they made the drawings.
It's like pretend America.
Yeah, totally. So you go there and it's like a bunch of Canadians with a beach house. Nice. Like the world's coldest fucking beach. But
it's like semi-typhoon winds all year round.
We went out there in the summer and I'm like, I gotta get a jacket out of the car. I'm fucking freezing. It's like, because it's cold. Like it's cold off the water. But yeah.
What were you going to the States for?
So for purely indulgent reasons, we had to get our son's Nexus pass renewed. And so like, here's a fun foreign thing. I don't know, for those of you who are looking at passports and stuff for your children and or yourselves. There are no United States CBP officers, which is Customs and Border Patrol. They normally have an office where US CBP officers come and hang out. It's downtown in Vancouver, and you can go get your Nexus pass. You have to do an interview with a government agent from the Border Patrol. Then they have to tell you, like, they interview, they're like, who are you? How old are you? They verify your identity and they authorize your Nexus card. And a Nexus card, for those of you who don't know, you pay $50 and it gives you 5 years of cutting the border line really quickly. You go through a special border line and it's like you go through. And on the way back, it was money because we needed to get back for an appointment for my wife. And the regular border lineup was huge. And we're like, Nexus, boop, we're in and through back in Canada in like 2 minutes.
Should I get a Nexus?
Dude, you should. There's two things. You should get a Nexus, but the second part of that is it almost took 9 months to get his Nexus pass.
Okay.
So I had to renew it. It actually expired in 2021.
Mhm.
And then I renewed it online, and there was no one here in Canada to like go and take him to the office to like have his interview.
Yeah.
And so they're like, you can renew it, and on good faith, when we're ready and we have the office set up and available again, we'll invite you to come in for an interview. So he had a conditional pass on his Nexus where he's like literally a baby in the picture. He's pretty young in the picture. He's like 13 now, right?
Yeah.
So we renewed it, and another year went by. And then his birthday's in December. So now it's January, and we finally got there's 2022. We paid for his renewal, and then we got his appointment, but it was in Blaine in Washington State. So we had to go across the border and meet with the border guard in the United States. And the weird part was there's a Canadian Canada Border Services Agency, a CBSA agent, because there has to be two. The Canada Border Services Agency is there at the Blaine Nexus office. So we go to the interview, and like the officer's like, this is what you have to do. These are the new regulations. Make sure you check the website. He's like, do you drive? And my son's like, I'm 13. And he's like, okay, so he doesn't drive. So he's not coming through the land border, blah, 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 blah. You come with your parents. And he's like, just for example, don't say I just have stuff with me, because my stuff could be anything. Like, I take my gun home with me, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh my God. And my son's just like, what? I'm not going to accidentally pack a gun across the border. So, but apparently Americans do that frequently. So,
oh yeah, because they're fucking living so free down there with all their guns and
just
like
driving up through the border.
cowboys.
Like, I'm just meeting my friend in Alaska for lunch. That's a 17-hour drive, right? So it's like, yeah, you're not going to make it. So it was interesting. Like, we had to go down to the United States to do that interview. It was the only available one. So we had to pull him out of school, and I'd take a morning off work and go.
I bet he hated that, eh?
Yeah, he hated it.
I was school to go for a rip to the States.
I was like, dude, we can get you back in time for math this afternoon. He's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, cool. Hang out with your parents in America for a little bit. Yeah. So that was, I don't know. That was all. It's a stupid American story. So now we're 15 minutes into the show, and all I've done is tell you about my
people like hearing about our lives.
I don't, that's like the biggest thing that's happened to me in a long time. We gotta go to America for a few minutes. Literally, man. We got down there. We got in we went in. We drove down.
Yeah.
We checked in at the border office, and we sat for like 30 minutes waiting for our appointment. So our appointment was at 9:15. We got in at about 20 after 9, and it took 3 minutes for that interview, for that guy to go over the speech with us. And he's like, cool, you're approved, you can go.
Nice.
I'm like, it took an hour to drive there. It took 30 minutes of waiting. I burned my tongue on some coffee, and then and then it was like, it was literally a 3 minute interview to verify that he was in fact who he said he was. Yeah. I mean, that $50 is 50 US dollars. So it ends up being like $63 or $65 Canadian. So, but that's still, man, it's 5 years of cutting the borderline if we go.
That's pretty good.
So, yeah.
I might do it, but since I already said I haven't been to the States in like 4 years. Yeah. I don't know if it's worth it for me, but yeah, I mean, I could go to the States more.
You could, like, so like, for example, for us, for clothing for the child, because he's like, he's 13, he's 5'10". He's growing like a damn monster. It's just cheaper to get pants at Target than it is to get them here in Canada. And you can find more pairs of pants. I don't know. It's wild. Population density, right?
Yeah. All right.
For me, I'm the dad, so I only own 2 pairs of pants. Then I will have those pants for the next 10 years.
Yeah. I've switched almost completely to soft pants.
I
have
pants.
Like 2 pairs of jeans. And I only put them on for special occasions. Nice. It's funny because when I was younger, I was like, jeans are casual pants, but now I'm like, those are wedding pants.
Yeah, jeans are wedding pants now. Like, damn, I don't put on my hard pants for everybody. You should feel blessed right now. Yeah. Okay, so what episode is this?
This is episode 24.
Episode 24. Boo. 2022 Boohoo Volume 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yes.
And we're ended off on February. Dale briefly
we left off on March.
We left off on March, but Dale wanted to throw it back to February to the Ukraine about the weapons. And so here we are back talking about the States. So we're in March now of 2022.
We're starting in April.
Starting in April. We
because
finished
we
March.
finished March.
Right.
So now we're starting in April.
My favorite part of this show right now is
Yeah.
that Dale is completely surprised. I don't know any of the things he's going to bring up. So this is kind of fun because then I get to like either go, duh, I don't know what that is because I didn't pay attention, or I'll be like, oh, cool, I know exactly what that is.
And I just wanted to go to tell everybody to remind them to, I got this list from onthisday.com
Right.
and I specifically picked out ones that are more like conspiracy / what we usually talk about stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be a word that means conspiracy that isn't conspiracy, so we don't get fucking trigger the AI bots and get taken off of everything.
Yeah, get trashed in the views department.
So the bonus, or the good thing for part 2, is I have all the specific dates now. And the first one I didn't bother, and then I was like, so this one I kind of went back and added all the dates so that if somebody wants to look up more information about a specific incident, they can Google like the date as well.
Nice. Okay. That's cool because like I kind of did a little bit of research while we were doing this last time, so now I don't even have to do as much typing into Google, which will be nice.
There you go.
Cool.
Okay, we're going to start off on April 12th. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson apologizes and is fined for attending parties during COVID-19 lockdown.
Oh yeah.
And this kind of doesn't seem like a big deal now that we're all fucking totally done with COVID, but back then it was a big fucking deal because the lockdown, like businesses were closed and nobody was allowed to do fucking anything, especially in the UK. And their prime minister's just hobnobbing with all his friends. And this is like the conspiracy angle is like the rules for thee, not for me. Whereas back in America as well, and even Justin Trudeau, they kept seeing them without their masks around people while they had the economy on basic shutdown, and it cost a lot of people their livelihoods and stuff. So it pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah, I'm mostly like I kind of reactivated my Twitter account around the pandemic times when they started, and it was like mostly people getting angry about stuff like that, about other people like attending parties or hanging out with people. And you know what? And like I personally know a bunch of people who are like, fucking, I don't care. I'm not doing what the government tells me. I'm gonna do whatever I want and hang out with people. And like there are people that I knew that had massive parties and were hanging out with tons of friends and like just not being part of the lockdown. And then like you read all day on Twitter, you're like, oh, I can't believe people are like having big parties with all their extended family and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know what? I can believe that people are doing that because people are people and people are going to people.
Yeah. So everybody's inertly selfish.
Yeah. And I mean,
personally, I was an essential business being in like an arm of the construction trade. So I never got to stop going to work, and I had to go through the whole time. And so I was like, basically like, well, I go to work every day. I go hang out with those people. So there was times when we had to wear masks at work, which was a huge pain in the ass. And I was like, but everything seems to be fine. So I was okay with people seeing other people because on one hand, I was jealous everybody got with pajama jobs, could just stay home and work from home. But at the other time, I'm like, well, you're not socializing. And I know how much that like it hurts people's souls and stuff.
Oh, yeah, it kills your psyche, right? Yeah. Like, I don't know. I have a pajama job, but I was also essential. So I worked the entire time, but I worked in my pajamas and I worked like this.
From home,
talk from home, talking to people. And, you know, I was one of the few people that was lucky enough to be able to keep my job during the time. And, you know, I work in education. So like I needed to be, almost my job doubled overnight. I work in marketing and education. And it's like, there was a need to communicate that was, yeah, man, I just like Kahoot games and show and tell. And like, it got old really fast. Right. Like, yeah. Hey, you want me to show you something? Look at this. It's my cool sweatshirt that I wear all the time now because this is what I live in. So yeah, but it's like, when I look back on it, was it fair? No. You know, the people were like hanging out and partying and stuff while we stayed at home and like stayed in our circles properly, whatever. But would you want to hang out with people and maintain some sense of your regular life? Absolutely. So do I fault people for doing that? Not really. Like Boris Johnson, whatever. I mean, he's a politician. He's going to do that kind of stuff, right? I'm sure our politicians got together and in person. And like, I remember we going to one birthday party during the pandemic, and I shouldn't call it that, but we all wore masks. Nobody ate or drank anything. We all
Yeah.
sat in lawn chairs out in a field, like 10 feet apart from
Mhm.
everybody, right? Like it was in a big circle. It was like the weirdest thing. So
Yeah.
like we had, because they let us have that. Like that was our party. Like we hung out in person. It was not, and that was the only time I saw a bunch of my friends.
Oh wow.
Yeah, for like 2 years. So
Yeah. I don't know, the pandemic, as you would call it, made me realize how little I actually enjoy social gatherings, and I was kind of just doing it because I thought it was like something like going to like I like hanging out with my friends and stuff, but like going to like big parties where you like don't know people, like you go because you're like, this is what people who are cool and want to hang out with people do, and I should do this so that other
now we're
people
old
like,
now.
and now I'm just like, I don't want to go.
Yeah, but I think so some of this kind of conditioned us to stay home a lot more,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't go out. I went and jammed with a band a couple of weeks ago, and I was
Yeah.
like, I don't go out ever. This is like, it's Friday night, and I'm normally in my pajamas right now, but now I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm slapping the bass with some pals, and it was neat.
Yeah. It
But I was
was
like, it
like,
felt wrong. I don't know.
yeah, I feel like the pandemic cured a lot of us of our FOMO. Like before, we're like, I gotta go
Yeah,
out. They might be
totally.
having fun without me.
Yeah,
And then when you
yeah.
stayed at home and you're like, oh, this is
Eh,
kind of fun. I'm okay with this.
you know what? That 90s show is on Netflix now. I'm just gonna stay in and watch this bullshit for a while.
Hmm.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. No, I get it, man. Like I'm happy. It's for me in education, seeing the kids back at school is wonderful. Like seeing people in person and like
Yeah.
seeing events happen where there's gatherings of people and they're sharing ideas and they're learning and they're progressing in their education. Man, that's so cool. It's so cool to see that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited that it's back. But I love watching it from my office by myself up in the top. I can have a look and watch everybody else having a great time being together. That's for the youngs.
Okay. I'm gonna move on.
Yeah.
Remember when I was like, this is good because I have the dates for everything? The
Yeah.
next two I don't have dates for, sorry.
Nice.
But in April, Alex Jones filed for bankruptcy
Oh man.
because we covered it before where he
Yeah.
got kicked off everything, right?
Yeah.
Did
He
that
got
already happen?
deplatformed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got deplatformed and fined and everything from the Sandy Hook tragedy and stuff because he denied. I think that comes up later because he gets a bigger fine or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. And then that's it for April. And then
That was a slow month.
moving on to May. I kind of want to skip over Alex Jones because we could talk about that
Yeah.
forever.
That is a forever. Yeah.
I do want to point out that I don't think everything that Alex Jones does is right, but he has given us a lot of truth we wouldn't know without him. So I do respect him in that regard. But the whole thing that got him kicked off the internet, I was like, dude, that's dumb.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have done that. But I love listening to him talk because he's super entertaining.
Yeah, he's insane.
Yeah, that's the good part. In May, the Lake Mead, this is the other one I don't have a date for. Lake Mead started receding with the drought in California.
California. Yeah, I remember seeing the pictures of that. Yeah.
And then they just found all these bodies from like the 60s and 70s mafia just dumping bodies in the lake. And they're like, oh, wow, look at all these bodies we found in this lake. It's like, don't you guys check this lake what people are missing?
Yep. Yeah, that's it's a reservoir near the Hoover Dam in the United States. It's Nevada and Arizona.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's why they found
it was warm.
Yeah.
But
so that's why they found gangster bodies.
Oh yeah, from
like a Las Vegas
ones.
mob dumping ground. You're like, yeah, yoink, just chuck them in the water. Huh, that's a lot of skeletons.
Like all the dudes from Casino.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's Joe Pesci size skeletons.
Oh, and then May 31st, as another drought thing, lost 3,400-year-old Bronze Age city is unearthed on the Tigris River, Iraq, due to the drought. Likely part of the Mittani Empire, including 100 cuneiform tablets.
Whoa.
And I had never heard of this empire, and I was going to research it, but I didn't. But finding cuneiform tablets is always nice because you can like find some knowledge what they were talking about and stuff.
What was that Graham Hancock show we were talking about that was on Netflix a little while
Ancient
ago?
Apocalypse?
Yeah, Ancient Apocalypse. So this fits right in with that sort of
Oh yeah.
thing as well, right? Like here, whoa, look at this. We found this like random ancient thing that everybody thought didn't exist, and here it is.
Yeah, this is a nice feather in his cap because one of his main things is that people were more advanced than anybody thinks, but we
Right.
don't have proof of it because this basically the sea swallowed all the evidence.
Right.
Like this, where like everybody lives by the water, by the ocean, and then if the ocean goes up like 400 feet, like it said it did on that show, then the city will be underwater.
Right. Yeah, especially anything coastal is now underwater. Anything we know is coastal is underwater. So yeah, that's a good find.
Yeah. June 9th, NASA announces it will begin research into UFOs, focusing on unidentified aerial phenomena.
Phenomena. Phenomena.
And this is the annoying part where they stopped calling them UFOs and started calling them U.A.P.s, which you might have heard.
U.A.P.s.
Unidentified aerial phenomena.
Yeah.
And then they have U.S.P.s, unidentified submerged phenomena. Personally, I like UFO better. I don't know if it's just because the branding and how like the X-Files and like the little green
UFO
man.
since the 1950s.
Yeah.
So that's 73 years of UFO. And now it's, what is it again? Wet ass pussy? WAPs?
Yeah. It's ugly ass pussy.
Ugly ass pussy, UAPs.
Now, if I was a total nerd, Jeff, I would be like, it's called the unidentified aerial phenomena because they're not all flying objects. Some of them are energy balls flashing. And lights and stuff. So, yeah.
I'll show you my energy balls.
Yeah. This is totally a bureaucracy move.
Look, where they glow.
Like, we don't want to get, they're like, we don't want anybody to get us on semantics.
Yeah, on semantics, right? Like an unidentified flying object. I don't know. That's bullshit. It's UFO to me, maybe. You'll always be UFOs to me.
I'll never stop calling them UFOs. I'm gonna be boomer about this.
No, I get the transition because I understand it's like it's sort of like a unidentified submerged phenomenon USP. That's fun. So that's like underwater shit that they can't explain.
Stuff that comes out of the ocean and stuff.
We talked about that on cryptids a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like those freaky whale ass things from Japan. Oh yeah, like that stuff. The whales with the human faces. That's got to be a USP.
And on the disclosure thing when they're the favorite Tic Tac one. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say that?
Yeah.
His might have been like a USP because it like the Tic Tac was above the water and it was kind of like making a cross formation, and then the water was like rippling or whatever underneath. Right. So they were
it could be underwater,
was a submerged craft.
Yeah, so it's technically not flying. It might have been attached to something below the surface. So,
June 13th, a Google engineer claims one of its AI systems, Lamda, might have a sentient mind, causing the company to place him on leave.
Might have a sentient mind. The Google's taking us over.
And the weird thing was, this guy was the guy who was interacting. Like, he was on the Duncan Trussell Family Hour podcast. He talked about it for a couple hours. So if you want to hear about it, it's good there. Or I think you can even Google like what the conversation they actually had, because I think he had to like log all the conversations he had with the AI. But it's like weird because he was like in charge of testing it to make sure it didn't like be a runaway intelligence or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it comes out that he's like into like satanic shit and into like all this weird like culty magic stuff. So you're like, well, if this is the guy teaching the AI all this stuff, did he teach it how to like, because the funny thing is, it's like if you get into it and you're talking like you want to like, let's just pretend that occult shit is real and you could do magical spells. If an AI is hooked up to a speaker and it says these spells out loud with its robot voice, can it cast spells?
Yes.
Like, could my laptop be a wizard?
Go with yes. Why not? If we could cast spells with our voice, why could it not cast a spell with its voice?
So this is so much more terrifying than just it's going to drain your bank account. Like, what if it does all these magical spells and just fucking summons demons and shit?
Okay, so I gotta play straight man on this one. So
that's a twist.
yeah. So the slide whistle for those of you who are just listening in. The one of the first things that happens when somebody is right about this. This is our conspiracy thing, deep diving into this stuff. One of the first things that happens when somebody's accused of something like this, they start a smear campaign. Oh, he's into the devil. He's into devil worship. He's doing that, right? They're giving him a bad name. Somebody somewhere is doing a press campaign to make it. I sound fucking crazy right now. This is in my head, Dale. You got me. But you know what I mean, though, right? They start smearing the guy.
Sorry to poop on your straight man thing. You do have a good valid point. But he on the Duncan Trussell Hour was when it came out that he was into all that stuff because he said he was into all of it. But you're right. Like they do smear guys like that. Like,
right.
Yeah. That's what the whole child porn thing is. They plant child porn on your computer and stuff so that because that's like the most evil thing. So it's automatically gets you detached from society. So no one will believe you.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, if he admitted to that fully, this is where I'm not in the know on those things.
Yeah.
Then I guess sure he's teaching spells to the he's teaching evil demon summoning spells to the AI.
I hope he teaches a white magic and it heals us.
Oh my, that'd be better. Yeah, brown magic. Make the forest come back. Nerd alert.
June 25th, a 30,000-year-old intact remains of a baby woolly mammoth were found frozen in the permafrost in Klondike goldfields in the Yukon, Canada.
No way. I don't think I heard about that one.
And I think somebody at work keeps talking about, like the crazy guy at work keeps talking about how they're going to like clone and make mammoths come out. So I don't know how truthful that is, but hey, if they want to make mammoths and bring them back to life, I am all for it.
Well, we got elephants. It's just like a
I
hairy
fucking
elephant.
love elephants, and a hairy elephant would be even better.
That's rad.
Because it's easier to hang on to when you're riding it.
It has a nape of the neck you can grasp onto. Yeah.
It's like a giant horse with a mane all over its body.
And tusks.
Yeah.
That's rad. That's actually pretty cool.
I totally want a mammoth.
Yeah, I mean, is a mammoth so far-fetched? Like, I feel like a mammoth is like the least far-fetched thing from the Paleolithic era.
Yeah, I think so too, because it's just like basically a bigger elephant with more hair.
So would that be a de-evolution, or is the elephant an evolution of the mammoth?
I think the elephant's an evolution because
it just lost its hair. Can I get that evolution? Yeah. I need that evolution to get rid of this back hair.
Well, you started that evolution.
I started my evolution. Yeah. Have you seen my son's hair? It's gorgeous and long and beautiful. And it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah. Just taunts you.
He's like, oh, Dad, look, it's windy out.
Oh, yeah.
You, bud. Fuck you.
And the emo hair must have been so hard.
Oh, my God. So right. Yeah. I'm like, it's the hair I want. Anyway, I'm sorry. Yes. De-evolution. Yeah. Bring back the mammoths. I'm cool with that. Clone those fuckers. That's cool. I actually didn't know that story. That's a good one.
June 28th, Ghislaine Maxwell was sentenced to 20 years in U.S. federal prison for grooming and aiding Jeffrey Epstein to abuse underage girls.
Man.
And this I put on there because the Epstein thing was what there's so many people who got red pilled from the Epstein thing. And then basically because of Epstein and then him getting killed in jail or suiciding in jail was made everybody be like, what the fuck? And then they just made them all susceptible to accepting QAnon.
Right.
So it's like that whole plague of QAnon that ruins so many lives is because I feel it's because everybody got red pilled with Epstein. And it's like, instead of like a steak and potatoes conspiracy, like JFK or the moon landing to get red pilled on, they were like, it was like child porn and human trafficking, and that's like the worst, darkest thing. So they all kind of went like 0 to 60 and just got their conspiracy brains like oversaturated or over like
too much stimulus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Overstimulated. Yes.
The thing that bothers me the most about this whole story is how everyone pronounces her name wrong. And I mean, she's a criminal and probably doesn't deserve to have it pronounced correctly, but it drives me fucking bonkers.
What is it?
The name is Ghislaine.
It's not Ghislaine?
No, it's Ghislaine. And no one pronounced. I'm 1,000% correct. My background is I'm French. and it's a French Belgian name, and it's Guylaine.
Mm.
And I worked with someone named Guylaine, and I have an uncle who has the male version of that name.
What's the male version?
It's Ghislaine.
Ghislaine?
Yeah, but the female, which no H, and then the female version is Guylaine.
Oh.
Ghyslaine. Yep.
Guylaine?
Guylaine.
You
pronounce the N at the end. Guylaine.
Guylaine.
Yeah.
Can I still call her Ghislaine?
Absolutely. You go right ahead.
Yeah. Because
I like when I say that I don't care about it, it's just because like I've heard the name so many times out loud that when I hear people say it, Ghislaine, Ghislaine, I'm like, you're all fucking butchering it. So also parents, name your kids easy to pronounce names.
Yeah.
That's
funny.
That's like not
because I knew Ghislaine was wrong.
Yeah.
And it sounded funny, and I call her that on purpose because one, it's funny, and two, I wasn't sure how to pronounce it properly. So I just did that thing where you go super bad instead of just kind of bad, where like you're trying and it's embarrassing.
Yeah, until you just take it to the nth degree.
Yeah.
Thank you for your commentary, Dale.
Hey, no problem. Dale!
Dale! Yeah, man, as a G Jeff, I'm very sensitive to this whole topic.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, and my last name, of course, is a pain in the ass, right? It looks like Gauthier and it sounds like Gautier. So it's stupid as fuck. Anyway, I have to spell my name to everybody for my entirety of my life. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Being salty about names, I'm with you. My last name's DeRuiter, and I have to spell it out pretty much every time I say it.
See, and I know plenty of Dutch people, so that's not a problem for me.
Nice.
My doctor, I'm not going to say, I won't say my doctor's name out loud on the internet, but it's like, it's a hell of a Dutch name.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Tell me off
after
the air.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving into July. On July 2nd, the earliest evidence for the use of opium from the 14th century BCE found in Burias Al Tel Yehud in ancient Canaan, which is now Israel.
Right. So this is like the first use of opiates?
Yeah. And this
was
was
recorded use of opiates?
14th century BC. So that's like what, 1400? So that's like 3,000 years ago.
What does the E stand for in BCE? That's a thing that we all grew up BC and AD, and I don't know what BCE is.
They changed BCE to something because it used to be before Christ. I think it's before Christ era.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, before Christ.
But
era,
I'm just gonna look it up because that's a good question. Because
do they still call it AD like Anno Domini?
Yeah, it's still AD and BCE. The abbreviated before Christ, while AD stands for Anno Domini, which yeah. Oh, and now instead of before Christ, it's before Common Era.
Before Common Era, and then CE is Common Era, which is anything past what 2000, like that is used to reference our own. Oh, I see. Okay, I didn't know that actually. I didn't realize they've changed the standard. So yeah, because they've removed it out, they've taken the Christianity out of it. So I see now CE is common or current era, and BCE stands for before the common or current era.
That's annoying because I had just said BCE and C and AD. I didn't know we had to change the AD too, but I guess that's like true because Anno Domini is like the domination or the
after the domination
of Christ or whatever.
Yeah.
Learning.
Interesting.
So
okay, well,
much.
cool. That makes sense now. Cool. Welcome to the Dale Show Learning Podcast.
Remember all those times we talked about ancient history?
Yeah,
and we were apparently wrong every single
time. Yeah, yeah. Anno Dale, AD. Uh-oh, are you lost?
No, I'm just
He's reading. You're reading your Wikipedia entries for the next.
I was reading the entry because I put these in here, like some of them like 2 months ago or a month ago.
Oh yeah.
But this one was July 6th is the first ever joint appearance by MI5 head Ken McCollum and the FBI director Christopher A. Wray, warning China is the biggest long-term threat to our economic and national security. Guess I didn't count on Russia.
Yeah. I guess it makes sense, right? Like,
yeah,
it's a weird thing to say, but we've known for years that China is an emerging country with huge wealth and a giant population of giantly wealthy people.
And this I put in here in the conspiracy tinglies because the fact that MI5 and the FBI heads were together making the statement is like the first time they've basically just been publicly like, hey, we're working together.
Yeah.
Which is weird because the FBI is supposed to be like the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So they're supposed to only work inside of the USA.
Yeah, they have
and
no
the
jurisdiction
CIA works outside of the CIA. So it would make more sense if MI5 and CIA made this comment or this announcement.
Totally. Yeah, the FBI seems weird because that's like FBI and Homeland Security are well connected, right?
Yeah. So, or maybe that's what MI5 is. I'm not, because I thought MI6
isn't MI5
was like spy one.
Isn't MI5? Yeah, or it's MI6's. Yeah. I was so like, maybe, which one is the James Bond one?
Yeah, so I don't know. Is MI6 made up or is MI5 like their home one? And like, is MI5 their FBI and MI6 their CIA?
Oh, it's this. Yeah, I think so. Because MI5 is the security service.
Okay.
It's the intelligence agency.
All right. So that makes sense for the MI5 and FBI because it's like their respective countries.
Oh, MI6 isn't called MI6 anymore. It's called SIS, the Secret Intelligence Service.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Everybody's changing their acronyms and I can't keep up. I already feel like a boomer. Quit making it worse.
We've just done 2 stories in a row about the change in acronyms of things. Yeah.
3. Well, not in a row because we were talking about the U.A.P.s.
U.A.P.s versus that's 3 this episode so far.
BCE, CE, and now the SIS.
Welcome to the Dale Show, where we catch you up on all the changing acronyms across the conspiracy adjacent sphere.
It's acronomical.
It's acronomical. It's acronomical.
Yeah. All right. July 24th, wild monkey attacks on at least 42 people, including in their homes in Yamaguchi City, Japan, led police to be armed with tranquilizer guns. There's no real conspiracy angle to this. I thought it was just funny that 42 people got attacked by monkeys inside their houses.
Like, I'm pretty sure if I asked Adria to describe your sex life, it would be like being attacked by a monkey. I'm coming over to the tracks.
Although I guess the conspiracy angle of this could be like, speaking of James Bond, like 1970s James Bond, like somebody trained these monkeys to attack people.
Morning party, send in some monkeys.
Okay,
you have the monkeys ready for me.
Moving into August.
Sorry,
that's fine.
The crappy James Bond impressions.
On August 3rd, cells of recently dead pigs brought back to life by researchers at Yale University, with huge implications for organ transplants and stroke sufferers, as well as ethical questions over definition of death.
Yeah. Question 1, are those pigs technically zombies?
They are, technically.
Jesus Christ. Dale, can I ask a huge favor of you?
Yeah.
When I die, can you please not reanimate my corpse? Thank you.
What if I only reanimate half of it?
Oh, well, the spicy half?
Exactly.
Don't worry, I hear that actually does that automatically when you pass away.
Your wife will be like, what are you doing, Dale? I'll be like, it's in his will. And I just hold up this crayon written note that's obviously written by me that says Dale can molest my corpse.
Yeah, he's fully allowed to. We talked about it on the show. Please see episode 26 of the Dale Show for reference.
I'm just gonna August 5th, actress Anne Hesh crashes her car into a house in Mara Vista, Los Angeles, igniting a fire that puts her in a coma and destroys much of the house.
She died, didn't she?
Yeah, she died a couple weeks later. This is kind of weird because there was that video of her being on the gurney and then she just kind of freaks out and comes out and busts out of the body bag or out of her sheet or whatever.
Oh man, I forgot about that. I totally got to watch that again.
I can't remember. Something happened. Whatever. Something happened, but she was she was drunk driving and there's a video of her crashing into a storage container place.
Yeah.
And then she just like they stopped her and she was all like wobbly, and then she just kept driving. And I think she was like in some financial troubles or something. So there was
Man.
dabblings of conspiracies of what happened, but then she died and everybody was like, all right, we can't, it's done. Yeah. But yeah, she was like, she crashed into the house and she was stuck in there for like an hour or something, and it was burning.
Oh yeah,
It
they
was
couldn't get her out of the
wild.
car. Oh my god, I gotta watch.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's that?
I was like, I just clicked on the video. I'm like, oh, I hope that doesn't
Oh, yeah.
play. Oh, I gotta see that.
I can't hear it anyway, so that's
Oh,
fine.
good. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was playing in there or not.
That'd be funny. It's just like
It's
car
in the
screeching
background.
starts. Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm totally watching this video. You carry on. You got this next one.
Okay. August 16th, section of China's Yangtze River launched weather modification programs due to severe drought conditions, including seeding clouds with silver iode rods to encourage rain. So there you have it, conspiracy fans. They do manipulate the weather and they do change it. So anytime somebody says they don't have weather machines, they don't. They just fucking shoot a bunch of pieces of silver iode into the clouds and then it makes them rain. So it's not technically a giant weather machine, but they still control the weather. It's a thing that happens.
Whew. Sorry, I watched that video. That's frightening.
Are you shook now?
I'm shook. I completely forgot about that. And I'm like, sure, the Chinese control the weather, whatever.
Do you want to weigh in on silver iode rods?
I wasn't listening.
Iodide
I was
rods?
absolutely watching Ed Hesh pop up from the dead.
Yeah.
Oh my
no,
God.
it's fine. It's just apparently China was shooting silver iodide rods into clouds and it made it rain. And then my whole point was that they can control weather.
So yeah, so that's a weird one. I mean, that's a loose and vague interpretation of controlling the weather. They made it rain, bursting a cloud.
Yeah.
Make it rain.
Yeah. So yeah, they can't make rain come out of nowhere, but if they see a cloud that has
so okay, let me give you like
they can shoot it and then all the wetness comes out of it.
So they diddled the wetness out of the cloud is basically what happened. Yeah. they shot a rod into the cloud
and then it was like, oh no, step iode, brother.
That rod's it's too big. I can't take it. Sploosh.
You're gonna make me rain.
You're gonna make me rain. Yeah. Oh Jesus. Okay. Oh boy. Oh golly. This is like a real world interpretation of that is you've got a balloon full of water and someone just takes a knife and pokes the water balloon. Like it's not, there's a little bit of science behind it, and you're shooting a rod into a cloud, but it's maybe they should have the weather.
Maybe they should have shot some iodes into a cloud above NH when she crashed into that house.
Oh my God. Yeah. Damn, I think they did. They shot some directly into her and she sprung back to life momentarily.
Okay, August 18th. Huge megalithic complex of more than 500 standing stones announced discovered at La Torre La Junera Huelva in southern Spain.
Cool.
If you're listening or watching this, just go to the show notes. I'm going to put all these in there. So I know I butchered that pronunciation. It's La Torre La Junera Huelva in southern Spain. So you can just copy and paste and Google that if you can't tell where that is. Southern Spain.
So they found ruins?
Yeah, they found 500 standing stones, which is like, that's like the thing about this is like when like just making obelisks that stand up is like the earliest form of like building and stuff to mark significance of like seasons and clocks and like through astronomy and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it takes less technology than to like build actual like pyramids and shit. So
cool.
Yeah. I don't know where they found them. They probably dug them up.
And apparently there's lots of obelisks in Spain.
Oh yeah?
Interesting. Huh, okay, cool. That's neat. And there's another tie back to the Graham Hancock series about like how many of these things they keep finding. Right?
Yeah. August 23rd, in U.S. domestic terrorism case, 2 men found guilty of plotting to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. And the reason this is in here, and one of the things some of these listeners might recognize is there was like, that was only 2 people. I feel like in the news it was 12 to 14, and that's true. Of the
What?
12 to 14 people who were plotting to kidnap the Michigan governor, all of them but 2 were FBI informants. So you had a group of 12 people and they're like, let's get the governor. And they were all FBI informants trying to just like trick these other 2 into doing it.
Huh.
So
Yeah,
if any time a group of 12 people come up to you and they're like, hey, you want to do something illegal? You'll be like, you guys are probably all FBI agents. So no, I do not.
And they hang out with MI6. So be
Yeah.
careful.
MI5.
MI5. Sorry, I got confused already. That was quick.
MI5? No, I'm 43. Zing.
Nice.
Moving into September.
All right.
On September 7th, discovery of the earliest evidence of surgery from 31,000-year-old skeleton with amputated lower leg in cave in East Kalimantan, Borneo.
Wow.
Published in the Nature. That was weird for me to say it like that, but I think it's a science periodical
or something.
Yeah, science journal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nature is the title of the science
Nice.
journal.
Yeah.
So that's where they
30,000-year-old surgery. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I can't even imagine what they cut that off with.
A sharp stone.
Sharpen.
Yeah. Just like a chiseled up rock. It's cut it right off there. You won't feel a thing because you'll be passed out.
Oh.
So, did you have a hammer motion? You did a hammer motion.
Yeah, because they don't have like a long saw. They would have had just a sharpened rock that they use like a hand hammer.
God.
I wonder
that
if
made the chins come out. You're like, oh God.
And it's crazy too, because you're like, just the fact that they amputated is crazy.
Yeah.
But then you're like, what would make them cut off the bottom half of someone's leg? Like that would mean they either knew what infection was or it got bit by a snake and they knew that would save them.
Yeah, if I'm thinking with my primitive brain, let's just say, for example, like if you've ever seen somebody like break something pretty badly
on the internet.
Yeah, okay, but like if you ever seen like a bone that's broken that it's obviously not going to get repaired.
Yeah, like mushed.
Yeah, or like mushed or broken, or like to the point where the piece of the bone is like sticking through your skin or something.
Yeah.
And when you see that, you're like, the only way that I can fix this is by cutting it off, because you don't have a way to reattach it. It's not it's like, it's lizard brain stuff. You're just like, okay, I better just chop. He's never going to walk on that again, so I'm going to chop it off.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's ruined. I don't know how to fix it. So the only thing I can do to help this guy is to cut off that piece so that he can like have some kind of life. Right. Like, it's not a premise about bleeding or anything. It's like that limb is ruined. I need to get rid of it so that it's not dragging behind him.
Oh.
Right. Yeah. If you think about that,
what a rough life.
Yeah, it's unpleasant, but I was just like thinking about it that way. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gross.
That's probably what happened.
Yeah. So it's not really a thought about like medical stuff. It's just like, or it got chewed by a animal or something.
Oh, like half bit off by like a cave hyena.
So it was like not that far of a stretch to just hack it the rest of the way off.
Yikes.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. September 26th. Moving on from the horrificness of that.
Anybody up for spaghetti?
Spaghetti squash. September 26th, Edward Snowden, former U.S. intelligence contractor who exposed NSA surveillance program, granted Russian citizenship by Vladimir Putin. It's weird that it took that long, because I can't remember when, but it was like it was like 5 or 6 years before that, wasn't it? That he leaked the NSA surveillance program to WikiLeaks.
I'd never paid any attention to any of that. I don't know what it is. All I remember from the time period when Snowden was kind of active was that he was always being interviewed on the internet. So like, this is pre-COVID times. He was like in hiding or like in
he was
exile
in
or something.
A consulate in Russia, I think. Like, I think he fled to Russia, or he sorry, excuse me. I think he was in the
Boosh
UK
burps.
somewhere. He was in the UK for a bit, but then he fled to Russia because Russia was kind of like, just because they hate America, they're like,
So
yeah,
yeah, come on in.
come stay here, stay with us.
Yeah.
We'll keep you safe,
Tell us all your
because
secrets. I mean, come stay with us.
as long as Snowden's alive, it undermines the NSA, or like
Right.
the security of the state. So of course Russia wants to keep him alive.
Yeah. I had
Yeah.
I had the Snowden movie bookmarked in my Netflix
Mhm.
channel, like to watch at some point, and I never got around to it.
Yeah, it just seems like homework.
It seems like
Like,
homework. It seems
I've
like I don't want. Yeah.
seen podcasts where they interview him and stuff, and it's still like, I'm just like, this, like,
Yeah.
it's super important, because he's like, the NSA is reading all your emails, every single one, and you're like, well, those are, I
I
don't
don't
even
care.
want to
I don't.
read those. I don't know why a security company would.
Yeah.
But I guess the whole problem is, it's not that they're going to read all the emails and then find something to hold against you. What'll happen is, if the securities agency says, hey, I want to get rid of Dale DeRuiter, then they go back to the files that they
Right.
have on hand, and then they build a case against you in, like, retroactively,
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
kind of like digging up your old tweets and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Moving into October, on October 12th, American conspiracy theorist, radio host, and provocateur Alex
Ooh.
Jones ordered by a Connecticut defamation trial jury to pay $965 million to families of those killed in the 2012 shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School, for falsely and repeatedly claiming on his broadcast that none of the 20 children and 6 adults killed had actually died, and that their relatives were all crisis actors.
How the fuck does? Yeah.
This
Mhm.
is the thing that I can't defend Alex Jones. Like
Yeah.
before, when I said this was his biggest undoing and this was a terrible thing for him to do, but I can't ignore all the information that he gave to us previous to this, and even post this.
Yeah.
And what I think happened, do you want to hear what
Sure. Let's
I
hear
think
it.
happened? So this is what I think happened to Alex Jones. So Alex Jones, he's always unearthing all these stuff. So it's obvious that he has inside men inside the US government telling him stuff. So I think he had this like trusted person for however long, who had obviously been feeding him, because for how much he believed that these people were crisis actors, meant it was obviously someone who had proven themselves to him to be truthful on many occasions.
Right.
So I think what happened was, for whatever reason, the US government got a bug in their ass to get rid of Alex Jones. So what they did was they found a guy close to Alex Jones, or girl. This could
To
be
feed him. To feed him
equal
misinformation. Yeah.
opportunity sabotage here. So what they did was, they're like, hey, you know Alex Jones, you're going to tell him that this whole Sandy Hook thing is false, and that way we won't like do bad stuff to you for being a mole and giving him all this other
Right.
stuff. So
Yeah.
Alex Jones hears that it's false from this up. This is all hypothetical, by the way.
This is all from the
So
imagination of Dale.
his guy who's feeding him information, possibly even more than one source, how big the sting operation wants to be, keep telling him that it's false, and that the people killed in Sandy Hook didn't actually die. There was just all like this big false flag so that they could take away people's guns and stuff.
Ugh, it's big oof stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. And then that, because that's the only way I can see someone like Alex Jones believing this hard that they
Right.
were all crisis actors, was if he was on purpose set up to believe that they were.
Yeah, that's a tough one, because like that's a
Yeah.
yeah, it's a tough one for sure. I only
Mhm.
had a joke. I was like, is Connecticut next that state that's next to Massachusetts?
I just phonetically pronounce it. It's funny because me and Andrea, I always say this stuff, like, it's funny because it always starts as a joke,
Yeah,
where I'm like,
and then it
oh, there's an
becomes
extra C in Connecticut, I'm going to start saying Connecticut. And
Allie
I think
says
it
something
was,
like that too, and it drives me nuts because she says it like on
yeah,
purpose wrong, and she's like, "Oh, it's unthaw." So
unthaw.
it's a thing in my family. My mom used to say, "I have to unthaw the turkey," and I mean technically, unthaw means to freeze
Oh,
something,
yeah.
right? So Allie has been saying it like jokingly and kind of mockingly because my mom used to say it, right? And I'm like, no, it's thaw. You have to thaw the thing, right?
Yeah.
Not unthaw. Unthaw is not a word.
I remember hearing unthaw for a while too. And
Yeah,
it's
our
yeah.
parents all said it, and it's not.
Yeah,
You have
that's
to
true.
unfreeze something or
That's
thaw
like
it.
that's like inflammable and flammable, or inflammable and unflammable, where like inflammable means it can be made to become inflamed,
Yeah,
whereas unflammable means it's unable to be made flammable.
right. Yeah, like there's
Um,
just subtle things, and then people fuck them up over time, and it just gets like, yeah, it becomes that thing. But yeah, I totally know you. Yeah,
yeah, and it's funny because I say folks, I
yeah,
say it the way Obama says it and the way it's
folks
intended to be said,
with an
folks, which is actually wrong. You're supposed to say folks,
yeah.
like with a W instead of an L. And I also say comfortable,
Oh, I say
which
comfortable.
I don't remember ever switching because I feel like I used to say comfortable, comfort, comfortable. What is it? I can't
Comfortable.
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a way that people say that's
comfortable.
not comfortable.
Comfortable.
Oh yeah,
Like
it's
comfortable.
comfortable.
The word
Comfortable.
is
No.
comfortable.
Yeah, that's how it's
Comfortable.
spelled. So that's the way I
Right, but
say
people
it.
say it comfortable.
Yeah, comfortable. That's the
Yeah,
proper way.
yeah.
And that's actually I was like, Google the pronunciation. Like we're at a point now where we
you have
get in
Google arguments,
arguments about
pronunciation.
the way words are said so often that we shorthand just automatically go to Google the pronunciation.
Yeah.
And it's funny because
Well,
and
Google's
Connecticut,
American, so they're gonna fuck everything up.
yeah,
Connecticut.
Connecticut started as a joke. I
Yeah.
can remember playing the train game
Yeah.
and seeing Connecticut on the board and being like, haha, there's a C in it, Connecticut.
Dude, we could do a whole show on just fucked up words in the English language.
Yeah.
Colonel,
Yeah.
colonel.
Yeah. And it's
Right?
spelled colonel. And I
Yeah.
was thinking about this one time, like for years ago, because I just think about words. And the only way I think they came up with colonel from colonel was it's like a weird French accent. So maybe
Colonel.
back when
Colonel.
French had settled, like had
Colonel.
because it maybe it came from uh
Colonel.
like Louisiana and that area,
Oh
which
yeah.
had a very French.
Yeah.
It might be colonel or
Yeah.
colonel or whatever, like with a French accent that I can't say right now because I'm too on the spot. But if you say colonel
Yeah.
with a French accent, sometimes it sounds like colonel.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of military words are like that too, like even lieutenant, right?
And it's funny because I would read colonel and colonel, and I thought they were two different things for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then that was just one of those like people who read a lot,
Yes, when
they
you read a
always
lot and
out
you
themselves
interpret
as
words.
nerds by
Yeah.
like saying words completely wrong, like brooch.
Yeah, brooch.
I think
I
I
told you
brought
about
those
that.
up
I told you about
before.
my friend Luke, who like when we were talking about Spider-Man comics one time, and he was like, "Man, my favorite one is when Carnage came to attack Spider-Man." Like, what? Carnage? You mean Carnage? He's like, yeah, Carnage. I'm like, huh,
Yeah.
huh.
You should watch more movies. It'll
You should,
save you that
yeah,
awkwardness.
yeah. Carnage.
Yeah.
It's very fancy, Luke. Very fancy.
October 25th was when the German sportswear manufacturer Adidas cut ties with American rapper and fashion designer Kanye West over anti-Semitic remarks he made in interviews and on social media.
I thought we weren't
And
talking about this anymore.
we
Fuck
weren't,
that guy.
but I'm putting this in the breakdown because that's kind of the most
Yeah, the most
crazy
newsworthy
one was
piece of
when
that.
Adidas was like, because he was for the longest time, he's like, I could do whatever I want. Adidas can't cut ties with me because they won't make money. But then they're like, we're still going to sell Yeezys. We're just not going to put the name Yeezy on it.
I was at an Adidas store a couple of weeks ago. They still have Yeezys available for
Yeah.
sale. Like they're not, well, that shoe, but it's not called that anymore. That's all. But the shoe's still available. Weren't you saying on Outrage Factory or something that's like one of the highest grossing products is like without selling his merchandise, Adidas stands to lose like some
billions.
like
Yeah,
some
they lost
godforsaken sum of money.
I think they lost $250 million just in the last quarter of
Right.
2022
Yeah.
because they stopped selling, like October. They
That's
stopped
fucking
selling it.
wild. Those
So
shoes
yeah,
are ugly.
yeah, they are. They better be the most comfortable thing that's ever happened.
Oh man. Yeah.
And then October 27th was when Elon Musk finally took ownership and control of Twitter and immediately fired 4 of the top executives. And he later went on to lay off everybody else. And then he gave us the glorious gift of the Twitter files, which I kind of wanted to do an episode on, but
I don't know what that anything about that.
You don't know what the Twitter files are?
No, what is the Twitter?
So what happened was when Elon Musk took over Twitter, he kind of got like control of the ship. And then he went looking into all the like the old emails and all the interactions and stuff. And he gave all the files to like 4 different independent journalists like Matt Taibbi and Barry Weiss. And there's a couple other ones. And they would like go through all these files and they found all these emails that were like the FBI emailing the uppers of Twitter and being like, hey, can you delete this one tweet?
Oh, wow.
And there's all this crazy shit that they found. Like you could just go on Twitter and search like Twitter files. And I think there's been like 13 different dumps of all the random stuff they found. And it's pretty nuts. Like all the stuff they found.
Pro tip. I can give you a pro tip on Twitter. Just deactivate your account for like 5 years. You come back with nothing. It's completely empty.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like
not even your ones before those 5 years?
I had no followers. I wasn't following anybody. I had no people. And all of my previous tweets are totally gone. But you know what's really weird? This is the wild thing that happens. Every once in a while, a bot will go back and like a conversation that I had in my previous Twitter life.
Oh, really?
And it'll tag, but it won't be one of my tweets. It'll be a tweet that they like of someone else's who's been on Twitter when I was on Twitter before.
Oh, yeah.
It happened the other day. It was like this rando tweet from 2016 or something like that I had with another Twitter user who I'm still actively connected to. And a bot liked that tweet and it came up in my feed because I was tagged in it because I had been in a conversation with those people.
Oh, wow.
Previously, but I can't see the tweet that I made because it's not there anymore. It doesn't exist.
Oh, it's just like tweet deleted or whatever.
Yeah, it's gone, but it exists somewhere because the person whose tweet it was originally was there on it.
Maybe that was just like a bot being like, "That's right, motherfucker. We got the receipts.
I'm searching you out."
I wonder if they like have all the deleted tweets and stuff too.
Yeah.
That
you've written and deleted and like I've gone back on a couple of tweets before. You don't know. I've said this before. You don't know what you don't know. So like, if you make a dumb tweet, you can go back and delete it. Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, and I have this bad habit of doing typos because I'll tweet either while I'm driving or I'm at work, and I want to get them out fast. It doesn't count because it's attached to my dash, so it's hands free, so it doesn't count as
that only happens to me now when I'm not wearing my glasses.
Oh yeah.
I'll type something out. I'm like, oh, it's pretty good. Send. I actually can't.
Yeah. So I should be proofreading my tweets more, but I don't. So then I'll go and I'll see that there's like, and since only like 100 people see my tweets anyway, I just delete it and retweet it.
That's because you got canceled.
Yeah. I don't think I want to believe that's why, but I'm pretty sure nobody looked at it before that happened.
I think I'm I'm somewhere, I don't know. Last time I checked, I'm like 200 followers. I don't have a big
200 followers.
I'm not big. I'm not a big person.
Here, I'll tell you how much.
I'm not a big personality. Not much of the social medias anymore.
It's
what are you giggling about?
Just, I don't know. I couldn't find. Oh, there it is. I'm going to tell you how many followers you have.
I have 215 in
Mr. Goats. Yeah, 215.
Yeah. And I'm following 229 people. So not a super active Twitter life.
I'm on the laptop as Outrage Factory Twitter. So
nice. On my Instagram, I have 1,168 followers.
Ooh.
But
Outrage Factory only has 259 followers.
I'm one of them.
Oh, 69. But my personal Twitter has... I still have 704. Not bad.
Yeah, you're a popular guy. You kept it going.
I'm
I
not
think
that
even at
popular.
my zenith, I didn't even have that many followers. I remember somebody who I knew through Twitter, we met one time,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Oh wow, I thought you had way more followers than you did." I'm like, "Nah, I got like nobody, man. I'm just a dude."
It's weird.
Yeah, I know key people.
Yeah.
It's my
I
secret
know
sauce.
the ones that count.
I know the people that count. Literally, it's like you and Derek and my buddy Ryan and a few of the old guard from Twitter, and that's about it.
Yeah.
The old guard.
Okay. Moving
Moving
into
on.
November, on November 11th, cryptocurrency FTX, crypto exchange, FTX, founded by Sam Bankman-Fried, files for bankruptcy amid accusations of financial mismanagement and criminal misconduct. And those accusations turned out to be true, and he is being charged with financial mismanagement and criminal misconduct. And what he did was people would invest in his, I'm not exactly sure how this works, but what happened was people would invest in his shit, and then he took their money and would invest in other stuff, and then that would fail, and then he lost their money. And you're not supposed, and like the big thing is you're not supposed to fuck with the people's money who invest in you, because then if you lose it and they want it back, it turns into fraud.
Right. So that's exactly what happened. It turned into fraud.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, how's your crypto wallet going?
Very bad, very bad. It's never recovered from November a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
But I only had $300.
You weren't really into it. Yeah.
Or wait, no, I think I had 500 into it altogether.
You weren't super deep.
And now that $500 worth only like 250.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I never bought into any of it, and I never knew if that was a good or a bad move.
It was a smart move.
Yeah.
Like,
it was just got to the point where like I was seeing things popping up at one point where they're like, businesses were like, we'll take your crypto, like you can use your Bitcoin here. And I'm like, that's fucking wild. Is this actually happening? And now I'm super glad I didn't buy into it, because I had I had so many friends that were like, you should buy some Bitcoin. You should get into this. And I'm like, oh.
And the problem with this stuff and stocks in general is like I only dabble. Like I've only got like maybe $600 over like 5 years invested, or 3 or 4 years invested, because I would put in like 50 at a time, whatever. But the problem is, to actually make money in the stocks, you have to have like $1 million invested, and then you'll make like 10 grand every once in a while.
It's that age old saying, it takes wealth to build wealth, right?
Yeah.
You need to start with money to make the money happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm starting to get pretty close to like be cashing my mattress guy. I'm getting fucking close to that, right?
If I had any cash,
if I had access to cash, it would stuff it in my. I have 36 cents in my drawer right now.
Yeah, it's funny because
one penny in there that's illegal right now.
I'm just at the point where I'm like, I could pay all my bills and not worry about having any left over. I'm good.
You're right. Yeah.
I'm not in investment mind yet.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
November 14th, the earliest evidence of fire being used to cook by humans found in study of fish remains 780,000 years ago at Gersher Benoit Aquav in northern Israel.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cooking fit. I would have thought they would have cooked a land animal first, not a water animal.
I think I would cook fish first, because fish raw that's not sushi would taste terrible.
You can eat fish raw.
Yeah, I know. I just thought of that when I was like,
especially if it's fresh, right? Like other meat, you can't really eat it raw, or you shouldn't. I'm sure people did. I
wonder if there's salmonella back then.
Slap in the ass with a hot pan and ride it to the table.
You know what it could be is that this could just be the earliest evidence, because it was on it was in a spot that was wet and had clay, and then the stuff fell in the clay and got preserved.
Yeah.
As opposed to like if you're cooking a pig in the desert, it would just
blows away. Yeah. The wind blows it away a week later. It's gone. It's turned into dust forever. For sure. I get it. Yeah. It's the biospheric stuff all aligned to preserve it properly. I got you.
Yeah. And the 2022 entries for the Merriam-Webster's dictionary is gaslighting And the
Oh, right.
Collins Dictionary is permacrisis.
Permacrisis. Oh God. Is that what we live in right now?
That's depressing, isn't it?
That's depressing.
I don't know.
The gaslighting one's fun.
Yeah.
Because it's funny because like that whole gaslighting thing got really blown out of context. And I don't mean blown out of context. I just mean like again, we talked earlier about how words and names and stuff get changed and confused and meanings switch and stuff. And like gaslighting, people were using it wrong on such a broad scale.
Yeah.
Right. They're like using gaslighting for things that weren't gaslighting. And the funniest part of all of this is that term gaslighting comes from a movie called Gaslight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where a guy makes a woman think that she's crazy.
Oh, when did that? Is that an old movie?
Yeah, like from the 50s or something.
Okay. Yeah.
So and like people are using gaslighting for like completely the wrong.
Yeah.
They're using. I'm to the point where like I think myself and a lot of the population were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Does gaslighting actually mean? So every time I kept seeing it, and like, here's examples of gaslighting. I'm like, that's not gaslighting at all.
Actually, you know what? Let's look it up because
yeah,
I think
it's
I
making
know
somebody think that they're crazy by lying to them, essentially.
Yeah.
Right. But then people were like taking that and making it into like a very broad definition. And you kept seeing shit on Instagram about like, here's examples of people gaslighting other people. And you're like, wow, that's not correct.
Okay, so here it is.
Maybe they had to put it in the dictionary because people kept fucking it up.
Yeah. This is Psychology Today. So this is gaslighting is an insidious form of manipulation and psychological control. Victims of gaslighting are deliberately and systematically fed false information that leads them to question what they know to be true, often about themselves. They may end up doubting their memory, their perception, and even their sanity. Over time, a gaslighter's manipulations can grow more complex and potent, making it increasingly difficult for the victim to see the truth.
Yeah.
So basically, what I understand gaslighting in the layman's terms is when you try to call someone out on lying and then they just convince you that you're crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is not technically what it is. That's I guess that's pretty much the layman's.
Yeah, that's like the when you don't want to use words like insidious.
Insidious. Darth Insidious. Yeah.
December 3rd, last month. We're almost there.
Cool.
We went through these last months so much faster than the first.
Dude, it's been an hour and a half. It hasn't been faster at all.
I feel like we've just been cooking.
No, because it's been fun to talk about stuff. All right, go ahead.
December 3rd, FBI investigate a targeted attack on 2 electricity substations in North Carolina, which closes schools and leaves around 40,000 without power for days. And the only reason I put this in there is because like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Was this domestic terrorism? What happened?
North Carolina.
And also this fucking huge push for electric cars, which electric cars are fine and shit, but I feel like we don't have a good enough electrical grid to force everyone to drive them, because some asshole can drive a car into a substation and 40,000 people just don't have electricity.
Dude, I've told you this before. You know the block where I live on?
Yeah.
Like where I live, right? Like down the street from you.
Oh, I know where you live.
On the that was ominous. So forever in this neighborhood, we were on this grid and there was a box, like a transformer box, right on that corner. You know where government comes down, where it comes down off of Austin and it turns into government. And there's like a corner down there that turns toward where I live, like right by the highway.
Oh yeah.
On that corner was a fucking big green box and it's a transformer. And every winter it would get hit no less than 2 times by a car sliding down the hill on the ice and taking that transformer out and leaving people without power for 2 or 3 days in this neighborhood until they fixed it. They finally took that box and they moved it up the hill onto the corner. And now it doesn't get hit. We have no power outages here at all.
That's so annoying.
But that was
like
fucking
on
10
one hand,
years, dude. 10
years. On one
hand,
that. You're like, yes, they moved it. And on the other hand, you're like, took you 10 years to move it?
Yeah,
what
exactly.
The fuck?
So sorry, on the electric car thing too. I remember reading something the other day, and I don't know, I can't confirm my source or know where it is. There's a state in the US that's banning electric cars after 2025, like the building of electric cars.
Oh, really? It's got to be like Texas or Florida. That's the only two countries or like states that would ban that.
Oh man.
Like the banning of using them or building them.
The banning of creating new ones because it's putting too much strain on something else.
Oh yeah. Ban on
So I have
creation.
one here where Canada moves to mandate electric vehicle sales starting in 2025.
Yeah.
No more.
Where is it? Wyoming bill calls
Yes,
for
it's
ban on
Wyoming.
electric cars.
Yes.
Vehicle sales by 2035.
Yes, that's what it was.
Let's take a boo and why.
I read that because
Um
yeah, that's what it was. Okay.
okay, I'm
I'm
just
glad you found
gonna
that because I kept finding other shit for Canada.
oh, it's because I'm on DuckDuckGo, my
I was gonna
friend.
say you DuckDuckGo that shit, didn't you?
DuckDuckGo gives it right to me.
Yeah.
Doesn't hide those results on the last pages like Google does. Seeks to phase out the sale of new EVs in Wyoming by 2035, citing the importance of the oil and natural gas industry to the state, as
Right.
well as the current lack of adequate charging infrastructure
So
and the
yeah.
cost to build it.
So that was the key point. It was the
Yeah.
cost of infrastructure to build it. They don't have, especially in the Midwest, the ability to build an electrical infrastructure large enough to power electric vehicles.
Yeah, because like it's good for cities and stuff, but
Yeah.
like the Midwest is just like Canada where you have hundreds of miles for nothing. So what are
Yeah.
you going to do? Build like those little charge stations like every
Halfway.
200
Yeah. Every
kilometers?
200 kilometers along the route, right? Like, what do you like?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
and
ridiculous.
something that nobody's really bringing up yet, but I was just reading about this because they're talking, why were they? They were talking about how heavy electrical vehicles are.
Yeah, they're super heavy. They're wrecking the roads.
They're 3 times as heavy as the combustion engine
Yeah.
version. So if I have my Dart and I get the electric Dart, which they don't have, but it would be 3 times as heavy
Yeah,
because the batteries weigh so much.
exactly.
And it's all like, and then you got to think about like, oh, they're talking about this because of like pickup trucks and stuff because they're higher up and how dangerous they are to like other people driving regular cars. Cause basically, if you have a pickup truck that's electric, you have all the weight in like
In the middle.
a
Yeah, up
middle,
higher.
like the middle, like foot is just like condensed metal that it just
Yeah. They'll
turns into
plow
like a
right through regular
projectile.
sized passenger cars.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that concern. The heavy piece. So if you've ever been on a road like out toward Delta, for example,
Hmm.
where there's lots of heavy transport trucks,
Yeah.
the road sinks. There's like
Yeah. They get
tracks.
grooves.
They
Yeah.
get grooves in the road, and the EVs do the same thing. They groove the road. And so like it becomes dangerous to drive a car because you have like this wobbly effect, and
Hmm.
it maxes out the shocks on both sides as your car's trying to balance itself, and it starts to throw the whole body, and it rocks off, and it
Yeah.
makes it like more accident causing. So yeah, that's another concern too, is like the road infrastructure has to be reinforced in order to support the weight of electric vehicles as well. So I'm
Yeah.
gas all the way, team gas,
Oh,
baby.
me too. Plus, it's like we get power outages all the time, and
All the fucking time.
electricity doesn't work in cold. The like you won't like you're supposed to have a range of 300 in the cold. They don't know what it cuts
Yeah.
down to because they don't
Dude,
want to tell you.
so you can this is an easy experiment to be, especially
Yeah.
for Canadians. Go outside when it's -2
Hmm.
degrees Celsius, and put your cell phone in your pocket on the outside, like on your outside jacket pocket, and you
Yeah.
watch as the power ticks away, and
Hmm.
you get home like after an hour and you have 1% battery,
Yeah. Exactly.
right? And
Yeah.
like we live in that climate. How the fuck are we supposed to do that, right? Like, have you ever tried to start a gas engine at -20 degrees Celsius?
Yeah.
The fucking oil's frozen,
Yeah.
right? Try
Hmm.
to start your EV in -20. It's not you where you plug the block heater in.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway,
Okay. Last entry,
oh my
December
god, we did it.
11th, 2022, NASA's Orion spacecraft returns to Earth after completing Artemis 1 test flight around the moon in 25.5 days. Record distance traveled by a spacecraft designed to carry humans.
Whoa.
And to me, I'm like, what the fuck? They haven't flown further than just a loop around the moon and back. but it's obviously a spacecraft designed to carry humans because it has to be all different. It can't just be like a solid metal block that they just shoot out.
Yeah.
So this is
So,
good.
you know what it says to me, Dale?
Yeah.
They're trying to commoditize the moon.
Oh, dude,
Commodify the moon.
did you
Moon
not hear
tours.
about how about H3 and shit on the
What's
moon?
H3? No, what's
H3, fuck, I can't remember what it's called, but it's this thing that
it better be an
on
amusement park.
it's like it's a sort of fuel. It's like a hydrogen molecule,
Oh,
like
yes, I did
three
hear
of
about
them
that. Yeah.
grouped
Yeah.
together. And they found some on the moon because it can only exist in the coldness of
The
space,
vacuum of
because
space. Yeah.
if it gets warm, it like
It
disintegrates.
disperses. Yeah.
Yeah. So they found that on the moon, or even if they don't find that on the moon, they're going to need like a base on the moon to use that
To
stuff,
create it
because
and
they
like
can do
house it.
fusion with that.
Yeah.
Because like when they're just talking a couple months ago about how they finally did fusion, it was with the H3 stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, the whole reason that Donald Trump made that whole Space Force
Space
thing that everybody
Force.
laughed at
Yeah.
wasn't because they were going to fight. It was to go get asteroids and get the resources off them.
Right.
Because one of the things Donald Trump said was he wanted to pass this bill that once someone claims an asteroid, no one can deny that claim. Like, so if America finds an asteroid that's just like
H3 rich.
300 tons of gold,
Yeah.
and the US claims it, and it just fucking tanks the entire economic
Yeah.
structure of the earth, nobody can tell them they can't have it or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Or they find like HG stuff, or they
Yeah.
find like fine metals and stuff.
You know what this really means, Dale? We're one step
Yeah.
closer to getting to go to space at some point.
Yes, we are. Like last week when we were talking about going to space.
Yeah, totally. We're one
Let's
step
just,
closer to going to space.
dude, if our job, if they're like, we need laborers in space, and you basically just go walk the moon with like a leaf blower sucker that just sucks up moon dust so they can get lithium out of it, I'd do it.
I have a scientific question for you. Can you weld in space?
Actually, the funny thing about welding in space is you don't even need heat or anything, since it's a vacuum.
Yeah.
As soon as you touch two pieces of metal, they'll just weld
They
themselves
fuse.
together.
Wow.
They
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering
fuse.
about that because there's no oxygen, right? And
Yeah.
isn't one of the welding things like oxyacetylene?
Yeah, that's oxyacetylene is just something where you melt stuff and then it goes together. Whereas
Gotcha.
like if you weld, what it is it's a wire that comes
It's an
out.
arc. Yeah.
Yeah, that has like an electricity, so it
Electrode.
superheats it,
Yeah.
but the gas that comes out at the same time chases away the oxygen, so
Oh, I
that
see.
it
Yeah.
like
So you
this
don't need that
electrical
gas.
thing. Yeah, so
Yeah.
the electrical thing happens underneath this gas cloud
Right.
without the oxygen, so it can form. But in
So
space,
you wouldn't
like,
even have that gas cloud.
yeah. So it
Wow.
can lead to like super bad things happening. Like if two pieces
Absolutely.
of metal accidentally touch,
Fusing.
they'll
Yeah.
immediately fuse together.
Right.
Cause it's like
Wild.
you you got to think of metal as like really firm liquid.
Yeah.
So it'd be
Yeah.
like if two water droplets touch in space, they just go boop.
Boop.
But as
Yeah.
two metals touch, they'll just like go like
Cram into one another
onto,
and
yeah.
create heat and create all that
Hmm.
pieces that go along with it.
Yeah.
Huh. Because I was just thinking, like, of the two of us, if somebody had an opportunity to go to space with a skill, it's probably you first
Yeah.
before me. You motherfucker, give me your ticket to space or I'll kill you.
You just need cantankerous welders. I'm your man. If you want me to weld in space, I will.
You got any of them space Carhartts I can wear up there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got excited about space again there.
Yeah,
You're
dude.
just giving me hope, man. Every week on this podcast, you give me hope that I might be able to see
More
space
reasons
before
to
I
go
die.
into space.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and the one thing actually pertaining back to electric cars, one of the good reasons would be so that like they could find like an asteroid full of cobalt, so they don't have to like make kids in the Congo dig it out with their
Oh
bare
god.
hands. Yeah, don't look into like rare earth
No.
mineral strip mines. It'll just make you sad for days.
Dude, I worked in the mining industry for over a decade. Like, I'm
Oh yeah.
aware. I'm aware.
What did they mine all the like rare earth metals and stuff
No,
too?
well, none. It depends what you.
Were they the bad guys, Jeff?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
We didn't actually do any mining. We did the software that helps make mining more efficient.
Oh.
So yeah, so we really didn't do any of the mining itself. But you know, you're kind of hyper aware of like how much
Mhm.
damage mining does to the earth, but like also, do you like having this
Oh
computer
yeah,
to talk on?
I do like having the
Like, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Whoo, ha, here's
Yeah,
one
this
again.
is a weird balance. It's like you don't want to wreck the earth, but you kind of want to be able to talk to Jeff on Zoom and
Yeah,
record a podcast because that's
right.
pretty dope.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
copper is a pretty important metal
Yeah.
in most fucking electronics. Like open up any electronics and there's copper in there. You got to
Yeah.
get copper, you got to get zinc, you got to get aluminum. You need all those pieces. And those, where do those come from? They come from mines.
Hmm.
Do you like driving your Tesla? It has a shit ton of stuff that is mined in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're an hour and a half. We should probably wrap this up.
Yeah. That's good because we're done
We
the
did it.
year.
We made it.
Yes. High five. That was the conclusion of 2022. Boo hoo, part
Nice.
2.
So now we actually have to do some real work and do a
Yeah.
podcast in 2023 about current events.
Oh yeah. Or we
Oh,
could look up something.
when we do next year's 2023 year in review, we could do a recap show of this recap show.
Nice.
Just
That would be
continues on in a
good.
loop forever until we get to go to space.
Yeah. We'll still be talking about how we want to go to space in a year.
Totally.
I'm totally down with that.
Yeah.
I was thinking of doing either a JFK file dump, but I haven't
Oh.
seen anything interesting in that file dump that they dumped.
So I watched The Rock this morning, 1996's The Rock,
Nice.
starring Nicolas Cage and Sean
Yeah.
Connery. And yeah, the very end, I'd forgotten about this little piece. The very end of the movie, spoiler alert, from 1996, Nicolas Cage goes to this random church in Kansas and undoes the front pew and finds a microfiche film. And he's like, honey, do you want to know who killed JFK? And that's how the movie ends. That's how the movie ends.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's either that or the aforementioned Twitter files we were talking about.
Yeah, we can do that too. That's interesting. I'm gonna have a look at that.
I don't know if those are just like kind of talking about like governments doing stuff and requesting stuff. So they're not super like the JFK files. I was reading up on them, and it was like the first like 50 I made it through were all talking about Oswald going to like Russia on a tourist visa and getting his visa too fast. So they kept sending like correspondence back and forth, being like, well, how long should it take for him to get a tourist visa for Russia?
Boring.
And it's like super boring stuff like that.
I thought the CIA killed him. I thought that was like common knowledge.
It hasn't been
declassified.
It hasn't been like totally proven or verified, I guess you would say, that the CIA killed him.
Right.
There's lots of intention for the CIA to want to kill him because he was going to disband them.
Right.
So that's like the going theory. Basically, it's Occam's razor is the CIA had the most to gain by him being dead. So they're probably the ones who killed him.
If the most likely thing is
the
most obvious, then that's probably the thing that it is.
Yeah.
If it walks like a duck,
then it is a duck.
It smells like a duck, it's probably a duck. I don't know what a duck smells like, so that's useless information to me.
Feathers.
It smells like feathers. It smells like a moldy old pillow and a bed and breakfast.
All right.
All right.
We already talked about our Twitter stuff. Oh yeah, we still have the Patreon going, the Dale Show on Patreon. You can email me, like I said last episode. Oh, yeah, you can. Yeah, there you go. You can email me at outragefactpod@gmail.com. That's the other podcast I do with a guy named Derek Bolin. If you haven't watched that, you should watch it. It's also entertaining. We do current events about what people are mad about. Jeff is so nicely modeling the Dale Show mugs that are available. If you want one of those, you can go to the Redbubble store. We have swag with those logos available. The link will be in the show notes. If you want the actual specific mug that Jeff's holding, it's bigger than the one that's available from Red Bull, and I have to order it from Costco. So just send me an email at outragefactpod@gmail.com, and I can
These are
hook you
dope.
up.
If you want them, they hold a full 355 milliliter can of liquid beverage of your choice. You can fit a full pop can in here.
Yeah, they're 16-ounce mugs, which is bigger than
16-ounce
the regular ones.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That's it for me, man. You can find me on the Twitter machine at Mr. Goats, me and my 215 followers.
You could be the lucky 216, actually.
Yeah, you could. You'd be yeah. You can see that when I tweet, it's usually on weekends or if I have a break at work.
Yeah. You can see that when I tweet, it's not when I'm on a break, and that's why it's full of spelling errors, because I'm trying to not get caught.
Yeah, you can read Dale's tweets out loud phonetically at your leisure by following him at Super Dalebot.
Yes, we don't have a show Twitter or anything.
Just to get to us. We're people. We're just people like you.
We
making podcasts.
Show. Yeah, make us famous so we can quit our jobs. How's that?
Oh, please.
See all these young people making money. All these youngs on the internet making money.
That was one of my tweets just a little while ago. I'm like, I was just thinking about that. I don't even know. The gist of the tweet was that, man, if only I had this massive power when I was young and hot. And then I remembered that I was never hot. So it's like, it's sort of inconsequential.
You were hot, buddy.
It's fine. It's fine. I know what I look like, Dale. I've got mirrors. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to lie to my face. Just it's good enough to know.
How's this? You were very not ugly. Oh, there you go, sir.
Am I doing this right? Is this what kids do?
It looks like a sideways 8, but I'll take it. It's an infinity signal. There you go.
Here, put your fingers in my fingers.
Oh, remember that? Nobody knows what we're talking about.
The youngs will never understand.
I'm showing all the young kids at work.
Attaboy. Yeah, you do that. Do that and report back, please. I'm very curious. You knew exactly what I was talking about. It's because we saw pornos in the woods. That's why we know about these things.
It's exactly true.
Okay. I better get out of here.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us on the Dale Show, and we'll see you on the internet.
See you later.